Did you know the average adult American gets 7 hours of sleep a night? That's 49 hours of sleep in a week, 2,548 hours of sleep in a year, and since the average American lives to be 78 years old, that's a whopping 198,744 hours of sleep in a lifetime. That's a lot of sleep. That's more than one-third of your life spent sleeping. Now, many people do suffer from sleep disorders or simply don't get the amount of sleep that a healthy individual should. That's why I believe that it's very important for everyone to understand how a lack of sleep can affect you. I will use information found in researches and studies as well as my own personal experience as a long-term sleep-deprived person. In this speech, I will discuss the different types of sleep disorders and how much sleep a healthy individual should get. How a lack of sleep can change your mood and personality, as well as how a lack of sleep can cause some serious medical conditions. Now that we know what we'll be discussing, let's talk about the different kinds of sleep disorders and how much sleep a healthy person should get each night. According to the University of Pittsburgh, there are 6 common sleep disorders, the first being sleep apnea. That's where you stop and start your breathing pattern in the night. My mom actually suffered from sleep apnea, and it's pretty concerning. She would go from snoring pretty heavily to a moment of silence and then picking up her snoring again. And it's in that moment of silence that she's actually not breathing. So what we did, they gave her a mask that would force air up her nasal cavity the whole night. That way she literally could not quit breathing. After that is narcolepsy, which is not having a lot of control over when you fall asleep. So an individual would be having a normal day and then fall asleep with very little control over it. After that is insomnia, which is having trouble falling or staying asleep. Then there is somnambulism, which is sleepwalking, getting up and moving throughout the night. After that is restless leg syndrome, which is not being able to control your muscles as you try to fall asleep or are falling asleep, therefore preventing you from sleeping. And last but not least is sleep paralysis. That is not being able to move or speak while waking up or falling asleep, which I imagine could be pretty scary. Dr. Richard Ferber talks about the sleep required at different age groups. It's pretty interesting to see that newborns need nearly 20 hours of sleep a night. I mean, that's an entire day. After that is toddlers. They can get by with about 12, still a decent amount of sleep. Young adolescents can get about 9 and still be healthy. But after that, adults and elderlies can get by with around 8 or less hours of sleep and still be okay. Now that we know how much sleep we should get each night and the different sleep disorders, let's talk about how too little sleep affects your mood and personality. A lack of sleep can actually affect your intellect, exacerbate or cause depression, and dulls your memory. It slows your cognitive processing by impairing your attention, alertness, concentration, reasoning, and problem solving. While you're asleep, your brain consolidates memories, which basically means it decides what your brain saves and what it throws out. So if you don't get enough sleep, you're not saving what you learned or experienced throughout the day, leading to chronic forgetfulness. And actually, insomnia and depression feed on one another. It's proven that a person diagnosed with insomnia is 5 times as likely to develop depression. In 2005, an American poll, people who were diagnosed with depression and anxiety were more likely to sleep less than 6 hours a night. So clearly, sleep is associated with our mood. Almost everyone knows that groggy feeling after not sleeping enough, and now we know why we feel that way, and how continuing this can lead to depression. It's very dangerous. Now let's see how a lack of sleep affects your health. Sleep disorders and chronic sleep loss can lead to some serious health conditions. The first being heart disease. After that is heart attack, a heart failure, irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, stroke, or diabetes. Here's actually a chart showing these are people with insomnia. 90% have been diagnosed with another health condition, while only 10% suffer only from insomnia. So that shows how a lack of sleep can lead to the development of some serious other conditions. Who knew that not sleeping enough could cause so many health complications? There are many different types of sleep disorders, and there are a specific amount of time that each age group needs. That's why newborns need nearly 20, whereas adults can get by with less than 8. Not sleeping enough can cause a change in mood and intellect. I mean, it can quite literally cause depression. And it leads to chronic forgetfulness, so even if you are studying, you're staying up so late to study, you're not going to remember it because you can't consolidate that memory. A prolonged shortage of sleep is harmful to the body and will lead to health issues, and not only that, they're pretty serious health issues. I mean, almost all of them concern your heart, or death. That's deadly. Heart conditions will kill you. Please take the amount of sleep you get seriously. It may not seem like a big deal to lose a couple of hours of sleep every now and then, but sleep is very important to the body and mind. Just do yourself the favor by getting an extra few hours of sleep each night, and make sure you stay healthy.